What does it take to be a DJ?
Great song selection.
Man in Finance, David Guetta. How did that come about? At what point in a set would you play Wellerman?
We probably wouldn't.
We tend to forget that with all the memes of DJs pressing one button.
What the fuck do DJs actually do?
The best DJs, I think, are like musical encyclopedias. Very hard to put your set into 45 minutes.
Most memorable moments of your career so far?
The legal ones or the illegal ones?
Welcome to another episode of Songs You Know, and this time with two great friends of mine, Billen Ted.
How are you doing?
Thanks for having us.
Great. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
And for anyone who doesn't know Billen Ted, you must know the songs. Man in Finance is a big one with David Guetta. And Wellerman,
Yep.
220 Kid.
Yeah, not quite our magnum opuses, but some of our biggest work, yeah.
It's one of those, once it's in your ear, you will never get it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. KSI, Tom Grennan, Not Over Yet. Dancing is Healing, Rudimental. Anne-Marie, Psycho, right?
Yep.
And doing the whole recent Anne-Marie album, right? Producing that and writing with her too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, pretty much. I think bar a couple of songs, but yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. Working with Jess Glynne.
Yeah.
Last Eurovision song for England, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Some incredible work. You're working with like Guetta, Sam Feld, Zara Larson, Derulo, like some incredible artists, and you're also DJs, right?
Yeah, DJ is like
Quite a loose term.
Yeah, it's a loose term.
You have DJed.
We have DJ. We've performed as DJs. I mean, to what standard? I'm not quite sure. Maybe like but we enjoy it, and we that was kind of always a bit of a side quest for us. But we.
But you release records as Billen Ted as a DJ duo.
Yeah.
And then you have another project as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, we can talk about it. It's called White Pony. And I mean, it's about to launch in the next few weeks, actually. So we're excited about that. We've been working on it for the last sort of 18 months, really, which has been great. It's me, Sam, and our mate Kez. And yeah, it's very much like UK dance focus, like a lot of sort of throwback dubstep, drum and bass, garage. So yeah, it's been fun for us to kind of do that, because I suppose for our kind of Billen Ted project, just due to the kind of viral records we've had with things like Wellerman, Man in Finance, didn't really give us an avenue to go and do, I guess, the music that we wanted. So that's what the White Pony project is. It's allowing us to kind of do that side of stuff.
And if someone like Jess Glynne comes to you guys and wants to work with you, she does that because you have a sound, you have a certain something amazing that you guys are known for, right? How would you describe that?
I suppose that came from, our first hits and stuff, and our first big songs in this industry were dance songs, like in just as lockdown was happening, and lockdown, in the middle of lockdown, really, it was like the UK charts and the sound was dance music, and we were making a hell of a lot of house music. And we were kind of got known as the dance guys, but I wouldn't really say we are the dance guys. I mean, we're from metal bands, we're musicians first.
That's so crazy. You told me that before, and both of you did death metal before, right?
Yeah.
So what were you doing, drums or singing, or what do you?
I was guitar.
You were guitar?
I was the drummer, yeah.
The drummer. I think death metal is the one thing where you want to be the drummer, right? Not the singer.
Yeah, I mean, you're the most exhausted after the show, probably, because your feet are constantly like...
But it's the most... But you have two kick drums, right?
Two kick drums, So you're always getting a good leg and calf workout, So you always got a pump on, But,
and guitar, you tune it way down?
I would turn it as loud as possible, just to annoy the drummer.
I mean, the strings, you tune the strings down.
Low tunings,
So where does the E go?
So... Probably drop G.
Drop G. What?
Yeah.
The E string goes all the way to the G?
Yeah.
So all 7 strings. You used to play a lot of 7 string stuff. So, but we were in different bands, and then our bands ended up playing together. That's when we first met.
We were playing a lot of shows together. So, the days of like being in Ford Transits, just going up and down the UK, and we'd always see each other at shows. And it was actually one time we were playing a Download Festival in the UK. And then you went off to work at Tomorrowland doing social media content for another DJ or something.
Yeah.
And then he called me on the Eurostar home and was like, bro, I've just seen the levels. Like, he's seen backstage, there's like Dom Perignon on tap. and lobster and all this
You
stuff.
get better food if you do different music.
Right, because we're playing in these metal shows in the UK, and we're arguing with the promoter to get like some water and a beer. And Tom's going to be like, right, mate, I think we might be in the wrong game here. Like, let's take a year.
Yeah.
Let's have a go at it and just see what happens to try and be DJs, you know. So we started making dance music, and then somewhere along the line, Ultra Records heard something we had done, put an offer in on a song, and we were like, okay, I guess we're DJs now. And then that started the studio world and the love of songwriting. So we kind of got more into that, because we were like, actually that's what I love to do, is to make music. I could never quite resonate too much with us DJing songs live. After doing all this crazy band stuff.
Like you were really working out on stage, and now you're just pressing one button. And
and it's not.
You feel like you're cheating a little bit, maybe, or
but it's not a negative thing towards DJing. It's more just like, for me, I felt like a fraud, because I'm like, well, I've just mixed these two songs in.
Yeah.
And I'm like doing this, and it's classified as a gig, but I'm used to this. You know, that's
exactly,
a show to me. You know, so
what does it take to be a DJ?
It's a learning process, isn't it?
For me, honestly, I think it is just great song selection. I think the whole idea of, like, you know, there's a lot of people in the scene that, you know, big debate online about the sync button and you know, the actual craft of doing it and all the tricks and all the stuff.
Are you pressing the Bedeviled sync button, or do you do your own tempo match? Sometimes
it's more fun to not do that. Sometimes it has a moment where, you know, maybe you've had a few beers and you might want to just, you know, make sure that you're all right or whatever. But
can you do the turntables too, like the old-fashioned vinyl?
A little
DJ?
bit, yeah. We're not great at it, but
that's
we can
really difficult.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
crazy
an art.
hard. Yeah. But yeah, I just think it's great song selection. If you know if you can read what people want to hear.
Yeah.
Or you can pre-plan something that, you know, is going to make that particular crowd go crazy. I think that to me is the heart and soul of DJing, personally.
So when you become a DJ, do you start remixing your favorite songs with your own flavor and play those?
Yeah, that's that was how we certainly started trying to make the genre. Like, you just take acapellas, and you just put your own spin on them, and like, which is now easier more than ever. Like, you know, if you were starting now, you could just use AI and have any acapella
have
you wanted.
Split, and then your acapella.
Back in the day, you'd have a pack of, like, you know, any acapella, and
you'd have to beg the label to give you the acapella.
Either that, or you'd go finding it on the internet, and it wouldn't always be the song you wanted, but it was the song you were given. So you're like, okay, let's try.
I think the best DJs, I think, are like musical encyclopedias, because like, especially within, you know, who have been collecting records for years and years and years, and have like actually done it from like vinyl to like all of the CDs to everything. And, you know, a lot of our mates who are very, very good DJs could go and do like, you know, 7-8 hours without thinking about it and no planning, and just map the whole thing out.
That's so true. We tend to forget that with all the memes of DJs pressing one button. Really, a DJ needs to be like a music store with your own 500 or boxes of vinyl records, and just know which one to pick at the right time, and so people continue dancing and don't get off the dance floor.
Like, because we've done, you know, we don't do many shows, but I think generally if you go and do a festival set now, you're given maybe like 45 minutes if you're lucky. And, you know, I think for a DJ, it's very hard to put your set into 45 minutes and to create a journey, because everyone's just doing the same thing. They're just sending it because they want the festival crowd to be hyped. So
30 seconds off, 30 seconds on. You know,
and it's only really when you get to like the clubs here, or if you go to like Fabric, or you know, when you go out to like Ibiza and you know do the nights in the clubs where the DJs have a lot longer, and you kind of witness more of like a journey.
And you did the Ibiza thing too, right? Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it's good. We've done a few shows out there. You know, we've done Ushuaia a couple of times, and I mean, I love the island.
We love it there. Yeah,
it's great. It was a proper musical education for us, like when we first went out there. But you know, because our knowledge, even though we were in the metal bands, I still used to go to all the kind of the dubstep, you know, the raves and the D&B raves and the free parties when my mates were at uni, and then Fabric. You know, used to love the dubstep back in the day when it had like Casper, Roscoe, you know, Magnetic Man. So it was just, you know, from that, and it kind of feels like it's almost full circle. I mean, we know that music's very cyclical, right? But that kind of sound is coming back, and it's great. So
it's crazy how big it is in the UK and how little it makes it into the American music world. It's in America, like I mean, the soft version of it, of course, was Craig David, who had a pop version of dubstep, or what did you call his?
Garage.
Garage.
Garage at the time.
Yeah.
And had like number one hit after number one hit in Europe, and in America it just wouldn't resonate. It was difficult, yeah.
But then it's interesting because then that sound all of a sudden was having hits in the States with like some of the K-pop artists who were using the garage sound to put pop records over.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there was one, I can't remember the artist now, but there was a massive song, and it was just a UK garage tune.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I think the whole landscape is totally different now in terms of what genres break in certain areas. I think the US is still waiting on that drum and bass, like, you know, mainstream thing, but you know, it is starting to happen, I think. And
how can you explain the different nuances of the genre? Like, when is it drum and bass? When is it garage? When is it dubstep?
Tempo defined, really, isn't it?
Tempo defined, I guess. Like drum and bass now is specifically 174 now. Is every drum and bass guy we're working with, if they're like, oh, let me just send you the stems, and I'm like, what tempo? Let me guess, 174? Is that? Yeah, for sure. Come on.
That's a tempo. And then as far as the loops go, are these sped up loops or are these reprogrammed loops that feel sped up?
Well, it traditionally came from breaks that were at like 120 that were then sped up. That was like where jungle started, and you know, so things like the Amen break and things like that. So they always had that sound to them. But it depends really. Like, you know, sometimes they're loops, sometimes they're programmed drums.
So between jungle and dubstep and garage and...
dubstep is normally like 140, 145.
Okay.
Garage is a big loose term now, because garage used to be kind of typically 135. And now it's like you've got speed garage, and then you've got a hyper speed garage, which is guys doing it at like 170, and it's like, you know, so...
And the house used to, you know, be sort of, it used to be like 118, like the deep house stuff, and now it's all like 130.
Yeah.
So
it's funny actually, we were going back through some of our early house demos, and like it's just amazing how the landscape changes, because you know, a lot of them were at like 124. I turned to Tom and I'm like,
so slow.
That feels so slow. 124. Come on, get a wiggle on.
But
you know?
as a DJ, since you can change the tempo anyways, does it matter so much in what tempo it comes?
Well, yeah, I guess so, because typically if you're doing like a house set, you want to keep it a pretty solid groove. You might mess with the tempo a bit here and there, but
not too much.
Yeah, because you don't want to make your song in 122, but have the intention of playing it at 130, because you'd like to keep it on the deck as close to the original as possible. You're only really doing that if you've got something that you need to get somewhere else. Hey, we need to go from house to garage or whatever. But
so you do slowly get faster with your sets?
Yeah, I mean, like we've done. I guess the last one we did Ready Festival last year, and it was quite a multi-genre set, and started at like house tempo and went to garage, went to sort of 140, went to drum and bass. But it's interesting because the genre, you know, drum and bass has, I guess, been taken and put into like a pop space. Like Kenya Grace was very much like a drum and bass tempo record, Strangers, wasn't it? And then it was a huge record, and you know, translated. So I feel like I still think, you know, UK dance music is still looked at from around the world, and I think everyone's interested to see what's going on here in the dance space, and you know, apply it into different genres and places.
Then as far as instrumentation, between these genres, which is like the heaviest genre?
Well, I would probably say probably drum and bass and dubstep, I suppose, especially when you go into that American dubstep, which is like like rhythm, as they call it, you know, which is like super squelchy, like, you know, dirty synths, like what and all that sort of stuff, which is great. It has its moment, but like the UK sound was much more like rolled off high end and much more like deeper. And
is that where Skrillex came in with his first pop hits? The Bangarang?
Yeah, I mean, well, he was kind of just doing everything and just obviously just being the best ever then and still the best ever now, you know, obviously, because that's just him. But
the Rumble in the Jungle, what was that one? That's such a cool one.
Yeah, Rumble, yeah.
Rumble.
Yeah.
How did that come about? I mean...
No, I've got no idea, to be honest. I've got no idea, yeah.
Massive
Yeah.
song.
I don't really know, but I mean, I guess like the UK, like your average UK dubstep fan wasn't that receptive to Skrillex at first, and the sound that was created. I mean, I fucking loved it.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah.
Because, you know, especially coming from metal bands, was his background as well. He came from First to Last, and then did it, and was obviously seeking the same sort of like hit
Yeah.
that you'd get in that genre.
Yeah.
But I think as a UK punter, that kind of sound wasn't necessarily welcomed at first, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You certainly wouldn't have been able to he wouldn't have been able to go on in Fabric, for example, on like Room 2 after like Benga or something. It just wouldn't have gone down well. But I think, he evolved the sound and actually did so much with music, and then took that sound, to a different stratosphere, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. We truly appreciate it. I'm excited to announce that we are launching a Patreon. This will be a place where you can find out about our upcoming guests, where you can get exclusive access to BTS footage, like for instance a walk through Greg Wells' studio. You can even submit your own questions that we're going to ask in the podcast. That's going to be so much fun. By joining this community, you can help tell the stories behind some of the biggest songs in music history. Thank you for your support. It really does mean everything, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. Hope to see you there. And do you mostly program loops, or do you pick loops? Like as a drummer, when you choose or program drums, do you still feel like you're hitting the kick and playing the snare, or are you detached from that now?
Yeah, like if I'm doing the snare parts and I want to put some ghost notes into it, I'll tap the hi-hat on there, do the kick with my foot, and then have the keyboard here doing the snare.
So it's got to feel organic to you as a drummer for it to be
But
working.
then also, it's, sometimes it's just whatever gets the job done as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll use a loop. Sometimes it'll be like, hey, that loop.
Yeah.
Or use a loop to get it started, and then have the intention of replaying it later, and then do that and be like, it doesn't sound as good.
And as a guitar player, do you also seek like the same saturation that you have with a heavy distorted guitar in the synths or in the production?
To a certain extent, but I mean, it doesn't really. It's probably an instrument that doesn't really filter into the genre too much. There's not loads of guitar, like I don't think you're trying to emulate it too much within dance stuff, but certainly like melodies wise, it's good for still writing and trying to come up with like synth riffs and little bits. And we've got invested in like guitar synths and stuff recently, which is quite cool. You're having a lot of fun with it. So I would say probably less so in the dance stuff, but then I guess with more of the pop stuff we've done, like the Anne-Marie album was a lot more guitar driven, a lot more instrumentation, a lot more like I guess like real stuff. So
let's talk about the songs for a moment, like Man in Finance. How did that get started?
So I mean, I guess we have a knack for kind of these viral records, and I guess we're pretty quick to react to stuff. And I think also various labels and friends that we've got within labels know that we're pretty quick. And I think that one was just a bit of a snowball effect, that we'd actually done a flip of, was it G6? Like G6.
Yeah.
We'd actually done a flip of that record like a week before. And we saw it all kind of popping off. And then obviously Girl on Couch like going everywhere. And then the label called and we're like, oh, have you seen this like going off everywhere? We're like, yeah. They're like, well, can you do a version? We're like, yeah, of course we can. Like, weirdly, we've already got a version. So literally 20 minutes later, it was done.
Wow.
Because it was already going nuts on TikTok. Like, we certainly weren't the quickest on the platform of TikTok. There was so many versions going around after she did that original one. And then there was a version where it was just the instrumental of G6 and hers. Yeah. And then we were just instructed, can we do something, like take the sample, but like do a fresh take on it.
Right.
And, not just have it the original G6 thing, which is a bang up.
And you took it over the top then?
Yeah, we just like, made it a bit more current, toughened up the drums, did our spin on it. And then, and then they loved it. And then realized, obviously with the Wellerman thing, they were like, well, do you just want to jump on this and be the artists, to be the DJs on it? And, we're not precious about our artist project, really. We're just kind of like, if it feels fun and like, whatever. We're not like, we're not BB, and we're not serious like DC10, like, house DJ. We're just like, if it feels fun, let's just have it. It's not really our first love, so it's like, let's just enjoy it. And
at what point in a set would you play Wellerman?
We probably wouldn't.
That's what I was
never
thinking.
played it live.
No, I don't think we've ever played it live.
But you're not embarrassed of it, no?
No, not embarrassed of it. It just doesn't really fit with the, it doesn't really fit with our show normally, because if we're playing like, we are playing like some kind of cooler records, and like, you know, a bit more of the solid groove side of things or whatever, it doesn't quite make sense to then be like, there once was a ship, just you know.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a time of life where we were first to it, very much like Man in Finance, but I think that one we were first to it, and, you know, it was going viral, and we just, you know, put the kick drum, put the bass on it, and again, it was just very much like, I think we did it in an hour, and then, you know, we sent it to Mr. Jam. He heard it on like Instagram and was like, "Oh my god, send it to me, and I'll play it on Capitol." And then, you know, and I think Radio 1 at the same time had like caught hold of it, and it blew up. But again, in terms of like a set, you know, especially when playing Ibiza, it's like not a vibe. But yeah, definitely not embarrassed at the record. It was like a great, you know, moment in time, and actually it brought, in a very weird time during like a pandemic and lockdown, it actually seemed to bring like a lot of people quite a lot of joy somehow. I mean, my kid was just singing it non-stop, and you know, I couldn't get away from it. But
it was certainly a reflection of how nuts that time was, you know. Just that, like, you know, and it was probably the first of its kind really, where there was something happening on TikTok and DJs peel off the acapella and do their own version, you know, because that was in 2020, and that's 2021 or something. In that, you know, TikTok was only really just starting. It was the pandemic was what made that platform go nuts, because everyone was just stuck at home doing dances or whatever. So now we're seeing this landscape actually where this happens all the time. DJs peel off acapellas from TikTok, blow it up themselves, have a viral record. That was probably the first one. I mean, the guy was like a postman in Airdrie in Scotland, and then before you know it, like 2 weeks later, he's on Good Morning America.
Wow.
Because of his viral, you know, his initial one, no one had done the remix yet, so we were like, you know, let's turn this into a house thing. So
you hear it on TikTok, it's viral, you take that off, you make your own beat with it, and then how do you release it? You just leak it, or you just put it up back on TikTok? Or?
It was on socials, we leaked it.
We put it, we did it with 220 Kid, and he was signed to Polydor, and we did a version, wait, let me get my story straight here. So we did it, and then we were like dancing around to it on Instagram Live or something. And then someone from Polydor called us and was like, "We've just seen what you've done. It's amazing. Oh my God, like, let's go," you know, all this sort of stuff. And then it was about trying to work out a deal with him and his team and our team. And it took a few weeks to iron out the details of what this looks like. Because it was kind of a remix really, but then it was his version that was the viral trend. So it's like, and this is always still the problem now, is that like you have someone has something on TikTok, the DJ peels it off, does their own version, but then they just can't quite get the terms right, or the negotiation falls short.
Do you know it was only a week?
Oh, was it a week?
It was a week. We put it out on the Friday. It did somehow manage to get done and was out the following Friday. But it was pretty hectic getting all the deal shit done. A lot of moving parts, a lot of people, and when something's going viral,
you don't have time to waste. You got to be quick with your release.
But also everyone can just see dollar signs because they know that it's going to be something big. You know, which it has. I mean, it's combined done across platform. I think it's done like 1.5 billion streams or something.
That's incredible.
So, everyone could see it happening. So then obviously everyone's trying to fight their own corner to get.
It's probably still alive, that song. The moment someone sings it, you can't get it out of your ear.
Still streaming away. It's I don't know who's playing it.
And now you're in the studio with Anne-Marie and Jess Glynne. How do you describe like the dynamic when you come with an artist like that in the studio?
We got on with both of them really, really well. And Anne-Marie, like saying we got on like a house on fire. Like I think we were meant to have like 4, 5, 6 sessions with her that kept getting moved just due to the nature of it before we'd ever worked. And then when we finally did work with her, it just clicked, didn't it? She was like going into writing, and then suddenly we were on like camps. We went to Decoy. I think we ended up doing like 3 or 4 weeks there, a week at Real World Studios.
Nice.
But yeah, she's great, and she just, you know, obviously got on well with us, made us feel really comfortable. I think we made her the same.
Great.
She was, "Oh, do you guys want to come on tour with us?" And we were like, "What?"
Oh wow!
So we ended up DJing her arena tour.
Wow,
it was fun.
You know,
that's amazing.
In the middle,
she initially asked us and was like, "Do you lot want to come on tour with me?" And I was like, "Doing what? Making the tea? What is it you think we do?" You know. So yeah, it was great. It was really good fun.
Did you have some flexibility, or were you pretty much doing exactly the same every night?
We did pretty much the same every night, because you have to remember, it's it was Anne-Marie's crowd, you
Yeah.
know, lots of young fans and stuff. So we didn't want to go there and just absolutely give them
Freestyle, yeah.
hell, and you know,
It was quite a commercial set, but we did give them a bit of.
yeah, we gave them. It was a half send. Not
Did
a
you
full send.
play drums or
No, we were DJing.
just DJing?
Just a DJ.
Because you
set.
could have been on drums too. That might have been cool. And add some stuff.
Yeah, it was stressful enough just DJing to that
Yeah.
many people. We weren't used to it, you know. So, but that was great fun. And then we finished the tour. Then went straight back in the studio. and
Yeah.
more writing and stuff. Yeah, no, it was a great time, and you know, we're sort of back writing with her now again, which is good. New stuff sounding great.
Great.
And, yeah, but
Amazing.
yeah, I think that the approach is normally just listening to them first.
Yeah.
Like we'll go with the ideas and like, you know, maybe some song starters and some ideas or whatever, but first and foremost it's like, what do you want to do today and what do you want to say, which
Yeah.
I'm sure you know,
Yeah.
you know, absolutely.
Do you have a podcast now as well?
Tom does.
Do you have a podcast?
I do.
Tell me about it.
It's called They Think It's All Sober.
Uh-huh.
And it's just about, I guess, especially in this kind of industry, like music entertainment, I guess there's a lot of people that perhaps struggle with substances like alcohol, drugs, you know,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. And I stopped drinking like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
Congrats.
thank you. And then Jamie, who I do the pod with, was not far behind. And there just wasn't really anything in the space at that time for people like who just wanted to change their relationship with alcohol.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, let's do a pod. And yeah, we just interview like, you know, people in music, entertainment, you know, artists and people that have, and to be honest, we interview people that still drink sometimes, but people that have just, you know, changed their relationship for the better and just kind of made it more of a, you know, a thing that people can be more open about, because I feel like perhaps, you know, a few years ago it was a bit more of a subject you couldn't really necessarily open up about, but I feel now like it's not really like a big deal anymore, which is great. You know, there's a lot of, you know, people respect your choice and,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, been doing that.
That's
almost
great.
2 years now.
What was some of the most memorable moments of your career so far?
The legal ones or the illegal ones? I'm joking. I'm joking.
The illegal ones.
No, I'm joking. The most memorable moments of our career, to be honest, like first top 10,
Yeah.
that, you know, that moment I've like, remember thinking that was in lockdown. The song came out in 2019. Took 9 months to get there,
Yeah.
and then at the start of lockdown it went top 10.
Wow.
It was a record with 220 Kid and Gracie, and I remember thinking, I was like, it was bubbling up, and I was like, oh, I tell you what, if this song goes top 10,
Yeah.
I could die happy.
Yeah.
If I get a UK top 10, if we get UK top 10,
Yeah.
I could die a happy man. And it's funny how, you know, you have that moment and then you're like, no, I want more.
Yeah.
I want more. And it's you're chasing a never ending
Yeah.
ceiling, because you're like, you know, then we had the number one, and then the number one, I suppose, as well, with Wellerman
Yeah.
that morning, where we got to the studio and Olivia Rodrigo was beating us every week. We were number two, number two with Driver's License.
Yeah.
Great, amazing song. And
That's like a nice combination. Driver's license, chased by the Wellerman.
yeah, it was. And there was all these tunes floating around. There was like Tiesto's The Business. There was Anne-Marie, Don't Play. There was a couple of other. Reton. And we were like doing this, all of us, in the top 10 all the time. But
funny.
Olivia Rodrigo just couldn't be stopped.
Wow.
She was just on fire. And then it finally got to this week where we were number 2 and the data in the midweeks was looking good. And then we're at the studio on the Friday morning, and a friend of ours who works at the chart company calls us, and he's like, guys, you sat down? We're like, yeah. And he's like,
Yeah.
he's like, really pleased to announce you've got the number 1 record. I mean, and Tom just both went, yeah. I would like, you know.
Did you go celebrate?
Yeah, we like just started like, throwing shit around the studio. so, yeah.
Yeah, it was very like triumphant moment, wasn't it?
It was unbelievable. And then, yeah, it was great. And then, but of course, we were still in lockdown at that moment, so there was no like number 1 party or anything like that. It was just like enjoy it. So I think me and you just like got some champagne when you were still on the sauce.
Was this entire Metropolis studio like one lockdown pod?
No, we weren't here at this point.
Oh, you weren't
We
here,
were in
okay.
Ealing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ealing. Yeah, so that was pretty bad. And then I guess other things that, I mean, we got to play main stage Ultra with
Wow.
Armin van Buuren. We did a track together.
I love Armin.
Yeah, so that was a pretty cool experience to go and do that.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think just it's whatever that feeling is when you see something that you've created just resonate with people, and I guess it's at its full effect when it's charting and turning into a hit record. So every time that happens, you do get like a buzz from it because you're like,
yeah, for sure.
Wow, it's connected to something that has just been pulled out of the ether by your when it's whatever it is that came into your brain when you did the riff or a key or like a lyric idea or like whatever it was. And I think that's still, that feeling never really gets old, that feeling.
That's amazing. Full circle moments, yeah.
So you're just
we have a segment on this podcast called Guess That Song.
Okay.
And so I'm going to play a melody and you have to guess the song, whoever's first.
Okay.
Sometimes the audience is first.
Are we going head to head? Is that
yes?
Okay, great.
I'm terrible.
And after that, we'll have a boxing match.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, here we go.
Wait.
One more note.
One more note, yeah.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna stomp the foot as well.
Mate, I've got no idea, and we probably look like idiots.
The band name has something to do with electricity.
The band name has something to do with electricity.
Think about driving. What kind of roads can you drive on?
It's not like ELO or someone, is it?
No. And then there's heaven, and there is
hell.
Yeah.
Mate,
I'm clueless.
Bum, 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 bum.
I'm on a highway to hell. AC/DC.
Yeah.
Mate,
Yes.
that was pretty niche. I mean, a big song, but it's hard when it's just two notes on a whirly. That's what got us there.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another one.
That's good.
Okay, yeah, of course, yeah.
Nirvana.
Yes.
Come as you are.
You got it. Come as you are.
Yeah.
Great one.
All I need is a love tonight. Probably.
I'll give you more.
I was made for loving you, baby.
You got the words, you got the melody, so one for you.
Yeah, great.
Okay. Let's see. Watch me.
Breathe. Is there some? Is that sort of with the title? Breath. Breathless. Breath of the Wild. I don't know. That's a Zelda game. Sorry.
So
meditating.
Close.
Yeah. Play it one more time.
Okay, the band that had this hit, you don't want to be chased by them.
The Beatles.
No?
Wait, that sounds like they did something wrong. No, they were all great as far as we know.
And then the singer of the band went solo, and a bee has something that...
Sting, the police.
Yeah! Yeah.
No, you don't want to be chased by the police. Absolutely.
And the song is?
Stuart Copeland's very fast, I hear.
What song is it?
Play the notes, someone say. Rigby, she makes a man. I'm joking.
No.
I'm aware that's the Beatles.
Every breath you take.
Every breath you take. Okay, yeah.
Every move you make. Okay, that was fun.
Yeah,
great.
Atrociously, actually.
Yeah,
we have covered a lot of ground.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun, and thank you so much for being with us.
Great, thanks for having us. Sorry, it was short and sweet. Apologies.
Yeah, short and sweet, and I've learned a whole lot about dance music.
Yeah,
in the UK.
Yeah,
and in the world. And if you like this episode, please like and subscribe. And if you give us a review, we'd be super happy about a 5-star review. And we say goodbye.
Thank you so much for having us, Toby.
Cheers.
Bye.